the next Uncharted standalone is very much going to be the focus, particularly because people still quite unsure what that game is and how it fits into the world, and you know, what's the price point, like what's the length going to be. So yeah, I think we're going to see a bit more of that tonight.
Yeah.
Marty wants more of the same in The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
In like in a positive way, just because
incredible way. Yes.
The same is good. Max is a little hesitant because he loves the first game so much. Is it because you're worried that you're like you don't want to ruin a good thing?
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say it cheapens it, because those are possibly the most highly polished games made. But like, at the same time, I'm excited because we've got Days Gone, which looks like a Last of Us sequel. It's a different universe, different producer, a different studio, and everything. But it's also like it's a gritty, grounded, zombie game. And then again, Naughty Dog also has a new Uncharted on the way, and it's like I'm also just not in a hurry to see more Last of Us. You know?
Well, actually, I wrote an op-ed ages ago saying that we don't need a Last of Us 2 because I was
okay, so you can back me up on this.
I can back you. I'm sitting here all silently and just letting you ride. But the thing is that I do agree. Personally, it was kind of tough to sort of think. Yes, we're going to revisit those characters because the ending of The Last of Us, in my opinion, was the best ending of a blockbuster game ever.
Yep.
It was the bravest ending of a blockbuster game I've seen in my entire life, and I was just like, okay, that's where I want it to end. But that's looking back. That's a few years back that I wrote that. We know that we're getting a Last of Us 2, and so now I'm just hoping for the best.
So what would be really cool though is, we've gotten 28 Days Later was followed by 28 Weeks Later, which was a drastically different movie in tone.
Still pretty good.
But
it was still really good.
And I'd almost like to see something like that, where it's not more of the same, refined and perfected. It's something.
The world is very different.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have breaking news. Knack 2 has a release date.
What? Wait, did they just do that before the conference?
Yeah, Knack 2 launches.
Officially, or was it a leak?
I just have. It's official. It's official.
They wasted a card on that.
Knack 2 launches September 5th for $40.
Wow, okay, that's
I can get behind
interesting.
that. Yeah, I know Andrew and Alana have both played Knack 2, and they both said it's sort of what Knack 1 should have been. If Knack 1 felt like a tech demo, then Knack 2, feels like a real game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But was the first game a full price $60 game? Okay.
Again, Knack was one of those games where I think people weren't like, I really want to see a sequel.
Yeah.
But, a sequel is happening, and that's cool. I'm really interested to hear what those guys have to say about it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that they did really reveal this news ahead of the conference. I guess they don't want to spend a lot of time on Knack 2. Yeah. There is more news on here. I'm not sure I fully understand it. Supermassive announced a new game.
Okay.
What does that mean?
All right.
That's exciting. So Supermassive was the studio behind Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Until Dawn guys. Okay, so they've announced a new game called Hidden Agenda.
Ooh. So I'm assuming that I want Until Dawn 2.
I want Until Dawn 2.
And I'm assuming Hidden Agenda is not Until Dawn 2.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Well,
Okay.
we have no idea what it is. So I mean, you could say they have a hidden agenda with that.
Okay, but that being said, our whole thing was that the next Until Dawn game would be maybe a take up on a different horror genre.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, are they going to do the choose your own adventure in just an entirely different genre?
Is it a spy game?
Is
it sounds like a spy game.
It sounds like a
That
spy
sounds
game.
really
If
cool.
it's a choose your own adventure spy game, that sounds great.
Okay, also from Naughty Dog.
What is happening?
What do you mean?
I thought you just
We gotta
keep
move
reading
on.
things off.
We can't talk about Knack 2 forever, Marty. Also
Although
from
we
Naughty
want
Dog,
to.
there is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, a standalone story that stars Chloe Frazier.
Yeah.
If you're doubtful Uncharted or Last of Us 2 is going to be there, will Uncharted: Lost Legacy be there?
Yes, I think it will. I think it's just 100% there.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
think
guaranteed.
Yeah,
That has a release date. That's like what?
That's August.
August, yeah.
We know it stars Chloe and Nadine, which I think is great because I think Nadine was one of the coolest additions to Uncharted 4.
And also criminally underutilized.
Yep. Laura Bailey just crushed it with the performance. So I'm super intrigued to see what this is. We know it takes place in a single country, and we know they said it features some of the biggest environments ever in an Uncharted game.
Well, this was also revealed at PSX last December with a cool gameplay demo, but I don't think I've seen this footage that we're seeing here.
Yeah, I don't
Where's it
think
from?
I have.
No one's seen this?
I don't think so. I don't remember this.
Where's this
Are we
coming
breaking an embargo or anything?
I don't think we're breaking an embargo. But yeah, it was a really smart reveal at PSX where we all saw this it was this stealthy trip through a building, knocking a bunch of guards off, and the character was wearing a hood.
Yeah.
And we were all watching it like, is this Tomb Raider?
That was a riot
Yeah.
because we were like, here's what this game is. And it was like Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Last of Us, And we kept listing stuff, and then it wound up being
And then we got to the top, and we're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
more Uncharted. All right, that's great.
What I'm really excited about with The Lost Legacy is to see the dynamic between these two leads, because we're so used to Nate and Sully. We know what their dynamic is. We know what to expect. And here we've got two characters who we have met, but we have not seen them together.
Yeah, never in the same game.
And so I'm really excited to see what their kind of banter is going to be like, because for me, the Uncharted series is all about the banter.
Yes, 100%. It almost feels sort of in tone like the MCU, where you get these superheroes and you want to see them paired up in different pairs. You're like, oh, I want to see what Doctor Strange and Hulk are going to be like when they're together.
I'm excited to see if there's different mechanics just because you're playing as a different character. Obviously, they showed off the lock picking in the demo they showed at PSX, and it looked. I mean, it's a lock picking mechanic. You can't get too excited about it, but it looked like novel enough. And I was like, this is curious. This could be interesting. And I wonder if we're going to have more stuff like that where, I don't know, the shooting's different or the combat's different.
I mean, you even see in Uncharted 4, Nadine is military trained. Like, she's like knocking Nate around left and right because he's just like a barroom brawler. So I do think the combat is going to feel differently just because you're playing as a character with a much different set of skills.
So do you think this is being positioned like Lucy, like Dishonored, the death of the Outsider? Is this like a standalone?
Yeah, I think that's, from my understanding, it's very much, we're in this sort of new vein of standalone games that aren't quite, you wouldn't quite call them DLC. You don't really call it a sequel, you call it like a standalone or a spin-off. A smaller in scope adventure, yet, you know, with all the sort of talent behind it. So yeah, it's definitely going to be you know, how long was Uncharted 4?
It was 15.
14,
yeah. I thought it was a couple hours too long. And the idea that they said this is going to be somewhere between Uncharted 1 and Modern Uncharted, I'm like, great. If this is 6, 7, 8 hours, you know, a really tight 6, 7, 8.
But it already has a release date, right?
Yes. Yeah, in August.
And it's Uncharted. Fan favorite characters. I feel like everyone's pretty much already on board, so they don't really need to spend a lot of time on this tonight, do they?
I feel like everyone's sold, and they did show like an extended gameplay demo, and they did show cutscenes. So yeah, I want them to touch on it tonight, but there are other games I would much prefer them to focus on that we know a lot less about.
Yeah. Any new features you would hope to see them explore? I mean, we have totally different protagonists in this Uncharted spin-off.
Uncharted 4 dabbled in dialogue choices.
Yeah.
Where there were a couple moments where like when Nate and Sam first got back together, where he was like, "What have you been up to?" And you could choose pretty much one of the plots of the original games and be like, "Well, where do I start?" Didn't really have.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm sorry, I'm super late.
I'd like to see
I started the stream a
maybe
while
have some
ago.
sort of an impact.
Welcome to
make you
Kitty's
want
Gaming
to
World.
Replay an Uncharted game.
I'll be
I could see them
covering,
doing
as you
something
can
just
see,
really
Sony's
surprising
pre-show
mechanically.
and
Obviously, Uncharted 4 had the grappling
conference.
hook and then
I'll
the
keep the
truck
pre-show
with the
playing
winch.
and cut
I
the
like
mic
the winch.
until
like
the
the winch?
conference
I thought it was
starts.
pretty
So
cool.
I
I
hope you
wasn't
guys
a
can
fan- I
have
wasn't a
fun.
big fan of a winch.
4 times.
And don't
Yeah.
forget to
Yeah,
follow
but
and
something like
subscribe
along
me
those lines, where you're like,
on,
what are they doing over there?
Twitch, on Frostawaki,
I
and
want
YouTube.
to see
So
less
guys, later.
of climbing up onto carts.
Yeah.
Personally.
That's okay. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
You backed me up on Last of Us. I'm with you on that. Those carts were stupid, and I did not like them.
Those carts were annoying. Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see whether climbing is such a focus on this in this game. You know, that's climbing has been the sort of central mechanic in all Uncharted games. Is it going to be the main focus of this game? And if not, what are they going to replace it with? So, you know, I'm just intrigued to see what they're kind of using to, you know, what they're swapping in and swapping out, basically.
Okay, well, last year's show opened with the new God of War, which has a whole new mythology to play with. Is God of War returning tonight?
Yes, 100%. God of War opened the show last year with that incredible demo where at the beginning we weren't sure what it was. We knew as a kid playing with his toys, and then this amazing Kratos reveal. And we saw this, you know, extended 10-minute-ish you know, cutscene that turned into gameplay. That was my favorite thing on the show last year.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely think we see another demo, maybe even kicking off the show, and I think we get a release date. And I know I might be in the minority, but I think this game is coming a lot sooner than we think.
So 2017.
I think this is 2017, yeah.
Max, is God of War a 2017 game?
I can't answer that. We have to watch the press conference to find out. I hope they show off some mechanic that blows us all away, because it looks awesome. It looks fantastic. I'm confident it will be a good game, but there's some hook that we haven't seen yet, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you feel about the reveal last year?
I mean, I thought it was great. It's treading upon very familiar tropes of the young kid and the grown dude, which is something that we've actually kind of got used to in video games now. I'm just interested to see how God of War it's going to look this year, because last year it didn't look God of War at all.
Yeah, I interviewed Cory Barlog, the creative director, last year, and he pretty much said that this is a game about Kratos having to come to terms with the fact that he did terrible things as a human, and now he has a child in his life, and he sort of has to learn to become, to come to terms with what he did and move past it so that he doesn't impart those same things on his son, which on paper is incredible.
I love what I'm seeing here. You know, he just had knowledge gained, gained experience points. And we've talked about how we love the cinematic experience of the previous God of War games, but I always felt they were a little I don't know, just maybe a little shallow for me and what I'm looking for. But it literally looks like they're building out with new game systems and RPG elements and exploration and open world stuff. And that sounds awesome.
And we
to
saw
me.
these things. We see this rage meter come up where the son misses a shot when he's hunting, and Kratos has this. He starts screaming at him, and this rage meter is coming up, and the son starts crying, and Kratos calms down a little bit. And the idea of the angriest character in video game history, a mechanic being him having to control his temper around his son. We see that in the corner right there. Like, if they turn that into a game mechanic, like that's
Maybe that's the hook right there.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
And when do you unleash that rage?
Probably on some sort of a weird beast.
Like a huge eyeball that it's attached to elephant or something.
Yeah, but I mean, that's to me, like, God of War has always been a technically impressive series, but it's at a certain point it felt juvenile to me, and this felt adult.
I wonder if they're going to acknowledge the previous games at all, or look at them as though they're kind of fairy tales. It'd be cool if they had flashbacks to the earlier games, but presented them as almost folk tales or myths, obviously.
Sure, yeah. Well, no, and obviously this feels like Norse mythology compared to the Greek mythology of the previous games.
Lucy, do you think Sony has a problem on its hands that at a glance, this looks like Horizon?
I was just going to say, this looks exactly like Horizon. You know, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I really like the idea of exploring with like a young kid and that sort of thing, and watching them, the things unfold through their eyes. So it's a great thing. I want more of it. I'm happy to. That comparison is totally fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, Horizon was one of my favorite games of the year, so I'm totally fine with more of that.
All right, last year Sony revealed that there is a new Spider-Man game in development from Insomniac, which is their first licensed game. And Max is super excited to see more of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I like
Tell us
Spider-Man.
why, Max.
I mean, I love Spider-Man. I love Marvel Comics. Marvel's always been my go-to. I love DC too. The Arkham games have been fantastic, and for ages I've been saying like DC is kicking Marvel's ass when it comes to games, and I really hope that changes. Also, just tonally, Spider-Man is so far removed from what Batman is as a character. This game, when you look at it, obviously I'm comparing them with entirely different developers making them, but you know, he's a guy who swings around in a city, but it's like a colorful city, and he's a guy who makes wisecracks. He doesn't just go Barbara and growl at people. I mean, Insomniac has so many amazing games under their belt, and I want to see what they're doing with this. I want to see a chunk of gameplay of this, because we got this awesome sizzle reel last year. I want to see what it's like when you're just going around doing your thing.
I think for me, the key with this game is going to be with Spider-Man himself. I'm very confident that they're going to get the mechanics right.
Sure.
I'm just curious to see whether they get the character right, because Spider-Man treads a fine line between being hilarious and awesome and then kind of annoying.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I totally understand that. To me, Insomniac seems like the perfect developer to handle this. Between the balance of humor they had on the Ratchet and Clank games, and then leading into the sense of mobility in Sunset Overdrive, like marrying those together in an open world with, you know, Spider-Man's powers and villains seems like an amazing fit to me. Amazing.
I get it.
Is Spider-Man a 2017 game?
I think it's an early 2018 game.
Really?
Yeah, I think we're going to see an extended chunk and a release, and it's coming in 2018. I think I'll say that.
Spider-Man's a 2017 movie, so why shouldn't the game be a 2017 game?
It makes sense to me.
Damon.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about also the possibility of, is Tom Holland going to be on stage in some capacity? Not as necessarily the voice in the game, but like maybe there's a Tom Holland skin.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Parker is a very iconic character.
Yeah.
I would think the actor playing him is important, so maybe they'd want to get somebody that's well-known and beloved.
Yeah, I think, I honestly think very soon we are going to answer so many questions we have about Spider-Man and have had for the last hour.
This is, another one of the most anticipated games with the IGN audience. The game that people always talk about is Spider-Man 2, right? And that was a PlayStation 2 era game, so it's definitely been a long time since people have gotten their Spider-Man fix.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
I loved that game.
Yeah.
So if this was the heart of that game, but just bigger, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, same.
Sounds good. I mean, open world games have come such an incredibly long way since that came out. But also, I mean, you look at Spider-Man and Batman have always been the two superheroes who were thrown at video games. They've had games since, you know, games were invented. And it's really cool to see both those characters as comic book characters, but as parts of popular culture kind of grow up. And, you know, something like swinging from a rooftop has come a really long way. Look at the grappling hook in Uncharted 4. Like, imagine that with web slingers, and it gets cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marty, what do you think Insomniac in particular can bring to Spider-Man?
I mean, I loved Sunset Overdrive, which came out a couple of years ago. I think this is the same team. The sense of traversal mobility and the ability to get all the way across that city without ever touching the ground. To me, that's what I want from a Spider-Man game. I want to get all the way across Manhattan and never set my foot on the ground.
Well, hopefully we're about to see more Spider-Man very soon. We've got to take a quick break, but our Sony pre-show will continue. We're less than 10 minutes out from the start of the Sony press conference. Stay with us.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we've got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. The start of the Sony press conference is just minutes away. We're looking at their feed now, and we will hop over there as soon as the show starts. Now, one looming question we have going in, is there a chance we could finally have an official Bloodborne 2 announcement? It would make Lucy happy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I actually have no idea. I just, for myself, there needs to be a Bloodborne 2. I mean, we've seen Dark Souls have a great extended life. Let's see it with Bloodborne, which is, in my opinion, the superior Souls franchise.
Yeah. I think we are going to see something from FromSoft.
Yeah.
Like, we know they have a bunch of games in development. We don't know what any of them are. So whether it's Bloodborne 2 or Armored Core or just something else, I think we're going to see them on stage.
A little bit loud.
I mean, since the whole
compared to
Souls
my
thing
mic.
started, there
Oh my
hasn't
God.
been a year where we haven't gotten Souls
Or
or
at least Souls
Bloodborne.
news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
so
something, right?
I think it's time. Yeah.
People love them. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Again, I'm with Marty, though. It could also be an entirely new IP. You
That's
know.
totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Code Vein the other thing?
Code Vein
that's
is
Souls related?
yeah, it's Soul Z, but it's Namco, but it's a different
Oh, yeah.
developer.
I see.
Yeah.
And that was at
So
Microsoft.
about 10
yes, I
minutes.
believe. Sure.
Yeah.
For the conference,
Well,
actually
another
less than 10
developer,
minutes.
Quantum
5 minutes
Dream,
for conference,
always likes to
guys.
make a big splash
Get
at E3.
ready.
So will we finally
Get
get
your
some more
drinks
info
and
and a
food
release
ready.
date for Detroit Become
Can't
Human?
wait.
No doubt we are
Yeah.
going to see Detroit